keep California cowgirls from vanishing.
Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Jumping at liberty to music, making our Morgan horses our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles area. Semi on the big steps. Morgan horse Sadie doing obstacles rainlessly.
Semi drives a cart. Sadie pulls a log. Sadie learns to pull a cart. Miniature zebu heifer Susie learns to drive a cart. Bull Rusty learns to pull a harrow. This is part 1 of a multiple-part series showing groundwork exercises. I'm showing you what I'm going to be using for the next few shows to guide me in lunging and long lining exercises. This is a ringside guide by Cherry Hill, 101 Lunging and Long Line Exercises, a book which was given to me by a former boarder named Kathy. I want to do some more groundwork with my Morgans. So, I'm showing you what's going to be guiding me. Part 1, in-hand work. Part 2, free lunging. Part 3, line lunging. Part 4, side rein lunging. Part 5, long lining. And then an index, if you're looking to remember what the rules are. So here it is, a very easy to use text with a lot of nice sketches to help you to picture what you're trying to do with your exercises. And we're using Firecrest Easter Eve, my Morgan mare, for this first session to do some exercises in long lining and lunging. And I have chosen, you see these slippies in this book, I have chosen the exercises that I feel, there's 101 of them, but I've chosen the ones, about 20 of them, that I feel are essential to doing ranch horse versatility. Some of it will be review, some of it will be new for my Morgans. In part 1, here is the first page of the table of contents, so you can get an idea where you want to go. You can go to that part of the book, look at the sketch, come out and try it with your horse. Groundwork is so very essential to proceeding on to actually doing the same kind of maneuver in the saddle. The first thing we're going to do, it's on page 33, is turn on the forehand. Now Brianna is here to help me with Eve. She has a mic on too in case she wants to express some concerns about what she's feeling. But I'm going to read the instructions and we're going to try it and show you how it goes. And this is probably going to be a multi-part series about lunging and long lining. One more thing before we get started. I brought out some of my tools. This is a yacht rope lead line with a quick release. It is a 12-foot yacht rope lead line. Being yacht rope is rather important for some exercises because it is heavy. And when you want to express yourself in the line that you're using, the yacht rope transfers that expression to the horse's body, to the horse's head, much better than a light rope would do. So I have this here in case we want to use it. Right now we just have a light rope on Eve, and it's a 10-foot cotton rope. And I like to use cotton because if we do have a pullback situation, cotton is much more gentle on your hands. Now, what about arm extensions? Here's a crop. We all know crops. Here's a stick with a string. And if anybody has watched anything on RFD TV with the natural horsemanship trainers, you've seen various such sticks. Now, we're not going to get to today, but here is a set of long lines. Not expensive. What I did was I just bought some rope, cotton rope, and I put some hardware at the end. I measured it so that they're about 22 foot, because that's a good length for long lining. And we are going to be using this for long lining. I also have some yacht rope long lines. They're much heavier, and especially at that length. So to start out with, we're going to use the lighter one. So Brianna, here's what we're going to do. Just for this first session, I'm going to read to you and to the camera what the instructions are. So working from the near side, stop your horse square. Okay, the near side being the side, I'm not sure. It depends, I guess, yeah, what side we're going to be turning on the forehand. You're watching us do this without rehearsal so that you can see what issues come up, what decisions have to be made, what understanding has to be achieved before you know what to do next. So let's say if Eve's left-hand side is the near side, I assume we're going to be turning on that in that direction. Let's see what it says. Face the horse's shoulder and hold the lead rope about 8 inches from the halter. So kind of guesstimate 8 inches from the halter. And Ryan, if you could zoom in on some of these, you know, like the 8 inches thing, give people an understanding of what we think 8 inches is, that would be helpful to them to see it. Tip your horse's nose slightly toward you. And Eve should be really good at that. Now, a horse that's never done this might give you resistance, so you'd have to take a step back and figure out how to get lateral flexion. Okay, now Eve's head is slightly tipped toward Brianna. This will weight his left front foot, which is the pivot point for the turn. Okay, Eve's left front foot right here. Using your fingertips or the butt end of your in-hand whip. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the short crop for now. Just an arm extension. It could be a stick, a piece of PVC, whatever. Okay, using your fingertips or the butt end of your in-hand whip, press ribs or hip in a light, intermittent fashion. This will cause the horse to pick up the left hind leg and cross it over and in front of his right hind leg. Okay, let's see. Which means then that the forehand, right, it means that the horse will be turning on the forehand. Now I'm seeing Eve's front legs lift and step in small steps. Let's see if that's what we were supposed to see. His next step will be to uncross his right hind leg and step out to the right with it. Yes, okay. Okay, the hind legs will continue crossing and uncrossing as long as you continue the cues. All right, let's do the cues for a few seconds, a few more seconds, not 15, 20 seconds, good. So you keep the head tipped towards you. Now the question is, Do we want a steady pressure on the head? I think so. It seems to be working. All right, let's see what's next. Meanwhile, the left front leg stays relatively stationary. The right front leg walks a small semicircle around the left front leg. Teach her to respond to your aid, not to fear it or run sideways. One measured step for each pressure on the ribs. Okay, let's do it again then. The turn on the forehand should also be practiced from the offside. Okay, let's continue doing it on this direction. Do you have any questions, Brianna? Is it pretty clear what I just read?
Yeah, what I am having problems with is figuring out exactly how to stand so that she knows she's not supposed to move her front feet.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go back to working from the near side. Stop your horse square, face the horse's shoulder, and hold the lead rope about 8 inches from the halter. Tip your horse's nose slightly to you. Okay, so I think you want to stay by the shoulder.
Okay.
Good, good. And I'm not seeing any steady pressure on the lead line, which pleases me. I like to stay away from steady pressure. It becomes, you know, the horse becomes almost numb to it if you use it too much. Eve has a very good disposition for things like this, so we're not seeing any frustration. Are you having trouble making her move?
Yeah, she's throwing her head a little bit, seemingly maybe bored, I'm not sure. She really wants...
Are you doing the intermittent?
Yeah, I am. At 1, 2,
at the ribs?
Yes, at the
okay,
ribs.
Intermittent, another way to say it is rhythmic. A lot of the natural horsemanship trainers use that word, rhythmic. Okay, let's try it on the other side now, on the offside. We're just going to do this in short sessions. So you're going to do just the same thing, but instead of being on the left, you're going to be on the right. We're going to see. Okay, so the lead line's going in the other hand. Ah, she's crossing over with her left nicely. Stay at a shoulder so she knows. Okay, good, good. Yes. At some point she's going to have to lift that foot, which she did. Good. Let's go all the way around. A little bit harder with your arm extension. And move with, give her an idea, move out. You know, open the door for her, but stay by her shoulder.
Right, see, but the problem is she keeps moving these feet forward.
Okay, well,
She's
you
not
just have
pivoting.
to, forward, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Like that.
I see. You want her to cross over and not go forward.
Right, I don't want her to go
Okay.
forward. That's why I'm standing pretty close to make it clear that she does not.
Okay, you know what? Before our next session, we'll turn the camera on again, we'll read some of the notes here, because those issues are probably addressed in the notes. And rather than take the time now to read them, we'll prepare for our next session and practice this exercise again. And my inclination is if she is stepping forward, you're going to want to, let's see if you can do this, you're going to want to go, just close the door on the front. Move it to your other hand if you have to, whatever it takes. But we'll see. We'll see what this book suggests, if that problem is addressed at all. And we'll study this sketch, which is on the back side of all these instructions, and we'll see if that helps us to understand exactly where to stand and exactly what to do when things don't go the way you think they should. We did do our homework. We read what to do. If a horse pushes into you when you're trying to move them, turn them on the forehand. And we studied it, we've practiced it, it's going to need more practice. And we're showing you because you're going to get frustrated just like we will show you our frustration when things don't work quite the way they're supposed to work according to these instructions in 101 lunging and long lining exercises. But that's okay, this is groundwork. Moving the body parts is so important, especially for what I want to do with my Morgan horses, that we're going to just make this a series. But take all the film and time it takes and all the practice it takes to get my horses really nifty at following a cow. And you know what? It's not going to be following a cow at high speed. It's going to be following a cow and keeping a cow from getting to a herd and doctoring a cow and doing whatever you have to do on a ranch. And we're going to want to do it slowly or quickly or whatever it takes. We don't want to stress the horse. We don't want to stress the cows. This is not for competition in a show arena. This is for ranch horse versatility. Now it says that if the horse, when you're trying to turn them on the forehand, moves forward, here are the instructions. So Brianna's going to try it. Keep pressure on the halter to prevent the horse from pushing forward, but not so much that it causes the horse to back up. If a horse backs up during a turn on the forehand, a more serious error than walking forward, his legs will cross behind each other rather than in front of each other. So we're just practicing again. Let's see what happens. Eve is a very good dispositioned horse, but sometimes she doesn't understand and she gets hard. She's not light. We only have a halter on, but we want her to be light. We want her to understand the cues. Now Brianna is using the butt end of her crop. A little harder this time. If Eve is not responding, just whap her. That's it. Got it. We got those back legs to cross over each other. And I'll have my cameraman zoom down there next time she does it. Harder. There. She just went up to it. Keep going until she crosses over. I would do it at the ribs. Let's see.
Well, she has different spots. Sometimes she does it and when I press her in one spot, and sometimes she doesn't.
Okay. Well, that's something we're going to have to deal with. Okay.
It very well has to do with the head. She's also being bothered by some flies. I have fly sprayed her with the Endure that we have.
Okay.
But she's just not understanding, so I'm trying to take it in slow steps and give her a break when she does the right thing.
Okay, exactly.
So.
Remove the pressure when they do the right thing. Don't get too anxious. Be really patient. Okay, let's see what happens. We can see better now. I'm not seeing the back legs cross over yet. Not again. And you know, I brought my white longer arm extension out in case we need it. There you go. Got it. Got it. Let's, when she does it, I've found, not only with Eve, but with my other Morgan horses, when you're trying to teach something and you're not there yet, you just get an answer or two that are correct or nearly correct. It's much better for me and my horses and my staff to just stop and say, good job, and then go on to the next day. Keep practicing. All right, let's go the other direction. I'll try to use this as a visual block if necessary. The lesser amount of tools, the better, but the tools are really critical. Okay, up two, keep going. Keep going. She's turning over the forehand, but she hasn't crossed over with her back legs. Now she is. Now she is perfect. Perfect. Now, yes, give her reward. And you know what else Dennis Reese says? Let me have this for a second. He says if you've used a tool to apply pressure, erase it when you get the right answer. So that's what we just did. We erased the pressure, we stopped the pressure, and we got the right answer. Progress we're making with turning on the hind quarters. Brianna's been practicing with Eve, and we have some good comments. Brianna?
Eve started out not knowing what we wanted her to do at all, just completely confused, and but with consistent pressure, rhythmic pressure with the crop, and it doesn't really matter where I was touching her as long as I was finding a spot where she would move. There were spots, sometimes she'd move if I tapped her ribs, sometimes she'd move if I tapped her hips, sometimes her butt. It just, you know, it was a constant trying to find the pressure points which would get her to move. And now she's really responding well just to having the stick in her peripheral vision. She doesn't need to be touched with it hardly at all. She's swinging the hind end around, pivoting on the front foot that we want her to pivot on, and not giving too much stress about it either.
Okay, and usually if you want the hind end to move, they say apply the pressure or the cue behind where the cinch would go. So that's what you just described as the 3 different places is essentially in that vicinity. Okay, this is a demonstration of our progress on turning on the hindquarters with Firecrest, Easter Eve. Now if she's crowding you, tell her to keep her distance by bumping the side of her neck with your elbow is what is suggested in this book. There you go, and we want that crossover a little more. There you go. There you go. You got, okay, good. A little bit more of a cue was necessary. All right, let's go the other direction. Everything done in both directions. Very nice. All right. Okay, and we got the pivot too. All right, now, what's our plan? Well, soon we're going to be starting some cow work again. We're going to be using Eve as a turnback horse. We're going to continue to refine these movements that we need her to understand from the ground that are comparable to the requests that we're going to be making from saddle. Now the next 2 exercises in our book are side pass and back, both of which are extremely important, whether it's a turnback horse or a horse that is following or raiding a cow. And we just had a discussion about Eve's progress on the first exercise, turning on the forehand. And we think that when we move on to the side pass, the 2 will really be helpful to each other. Brianna, tell us what you noticed about the turning on the forehand.
When we try to turn the four quarters around, which we do by tapping the shoulder and telling the horse to go the opposite direction of the side we're standing on, she's very confused. She doesn't understand why we are doing this one exercise and making her hips go over and doing this other exercise and trying to make her front end go over. She keeps trying to side pass with her entire body. What I've been doing to correct that is swinging the hind end back over to where it started and then keeping going, and whenever she gets a couple steps right, I stop, I give her a reward, and it seems to be a slow process, but I think once she gets it, she'll be able to get it.
Okay, why don't we, just for the sake of review, show your attempts at getting the movement over the 4 quarters, turn on the forehand. Notice where Brianna is cueing and her shoulder, and yet you keep a slight arc with her head, and she's going forward. So you're going to apply some pressure with your halter to make her realize that going forward is not the correct answer. Bring your arm way out, and that's it. There you go. Look at that. Look at that crossover you got. Make the cue very obvious. And then she started moving her hind end, so Brianna corrected. And you will see when we start doing cow work in saddle how important these maneuvers are. We will show you as the summer progresses. We are going to be using my mechanical cow simulators and my miniature Zebus to continue training for cow work. Bring your arm way out.
Yeah, she's just really confused. She's swinging this hind end around all over the place.
There. Okay. Show her that's the right answer by stopping, erasing the pressure. Right, now let's go to the other side. So again, Brianna's going to try to get that arc towards her, and yet apply there. Yes. Good, erase the pressure. Let's try to get one more right answer for today. There, okay. All right. Well, we're making progress. We're showing you what you can do from the ground for getting these maneuvers in 100 lunging, long lining exercises, and it'll probably take us all summer to show you the ones that we've chosen to help us prepare our Morgan horses for cow work with our mini cattle, our miniature zebu cattle. And that's all for today.
We begin the side pass exercise.
Here's the exercise called side pass in hand, and it's based on the aids for the turn on the forehand. The difference is that now you want the forehand to move sideways along with the hindquarters. Now Brianna's asking Eve to do the forehand turn, but we've both read this ahead of time, but we're reading it as we do it. In a side pass to the right, the horse's head and neck should be straighter than in a turn on the forehead, especially at first. However, it will be easier if the horse's head is tipped slightly toward you. Okay, she's better on one side than the other, so Brianna's trying to choose her best side. Your goal is to keep the horse's head in front of the neck and keep the neck anchored securely to the body. You will have to do the joystick adjustment, which we haven't discussed before, but what it says in parentheses here is left, right, back, forward, to keep the body in position. Instead of cueing the horse on the ribs for the sideways movement, as you did for the turn on the forehand, the aid will be applied more at the girth area. In the side pass to the left, you must work the horse from the offside. Eventually, the goal is to have the horse's head and neck straight. Now, let's see how we're doing. We're just getting started today. We're showing you the principles. Actually, she's doing quite well. Yeah, and in the footfall, it describes how the right leg, for example, in the front goes off to the right, and then the left rear crosses over the right. And that's what I think I just saw. It says the right hind and the left front will step widely to the right. A leg should always cross in front of its partner leg and uncross from behind. It's a valuable exercise for teaching the horse to move his entire body out of a space. Handy when you are sending the horse out on the lunge line the first time and you don't want to have the horse be on top of you.
Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Sammy, Rusty and Susie, heifer calf Sela. For more information, www.cowgirlchannel.com.